Hey everybody, Dave here. In this video I want to talk about M1 Finance. I want to talk about 6 things that I like about M1 Finance, and I want to talk about 5 things that I do not like about M1 Finance. Alright, so I've used quite a few brokers over the years. I've used E-Trade back in the day. I've used Fidelity. I've used Scottrade. I've used TD Ameritrade. I still use Interactive Brokers. I still use TD Ameritrade. And then recently added M1 Finance 2 months ago. It fit, the needs that I had for the account. It was free back when a lot of the brokerages weren't free, so that's not really a concern anymore. But hopefully M1 Finance watches this video and they make updates to their platform, because some of these things are just so easy to add, just a couple hours worth of programming and they could add some of this functionality. But anyways, let's go and get started. So the first thing I want to mention is the fractional purchase. All right, so M1 Finance allows you to purchase shares of stocks fractionally, right? So if you only have $100 in there, you could buy like an Amazon, or you could buy an Apple, you could buy booking.com. Any of these stocks that are expensive, at least in the share price, you could purchase with a little bit of money. And you can invest in those companies. So that's a positive going for M1 Finance. It wasn't necessarily a big thing for me, but it was a big thing when it came to the dripping. All right, so TD Ameritrade will allow you to drip fractional shares, but it won't allow you to purchase fractional shares. So if you wanted to invest into Amazon, you couldn't with TD Ameritrade. But if you're invested in another stock and you can only purchase 0.5 shares, the drip will purchase 0.5 shares. So that's a positive for TD Ameritrade. So this is one step further, where you can purchase the stock with fractional shares, plus it will drip with a fractional share. So the drip is slightly different with M1 Finance as well. I'll talk about that in a minute here. But until more brokerages go to fractional purchase and drip fractional, then there's not a lot out there doing that. M1's really the only one that comes to my mind at this time. So that is one positive thing going for M1 Finance. So number 2 is the fact that M1 allows you to drip. All right, so it's a different type of drip than what I'm used to. I'll explain the difference of what I'm talking about with like TD Ameritrade. If you had 250 shares of X company and it pays you, say, $50 a quarter, it will buy $50 exactly of that stock if you want it to. You can actually tell it to what stock you want to buy. It's like a drip program where you can tell it, you can force it all to go to one stock. You can force it to go equally into the stocks that you want. If you had 10 stocks, you can do 10% into each, or you can just do 100% into one. If you had it 10% into that one, it will buy $50 worth exactly, if it's a fractional share or not, into that stock. Well, M1 Finance is slightly different. It puts the money into the uninvested cash area, and then it will invest once it gets over like $10, I think is the minimum, and then it will spread that out across all your portfolio, unless you go in there and tell it to select which one to buy. The auto invest will just spread it across your portfolio, and a matter of fact, it's going to stick it in the lowest underweight stock in your portfolio, kind of like an auto balance, if you will. So that is a nice thing I do like about M1 Finance, is the dripping. So M1 Finance does have a form of dripping. It just may not be like other platforms out there that you may be used to. It's a form of their own drip, okay, but it does have a drip where you can have it go automatically and reinvest eventually into those stocks. The lowest one, the lowest underweight stock most likely is going to be the first to get dripped to. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. So the third thing I like about M1 Finance is I like the fact that it kind of visualizes the companies. Now I'm using ETFs in my portfolio here, but if I had Home Depots in here, if I had Amazon in here, it kind of shows their logo, and that's kind of neat. That's one of the things that draw me to the platform. I thought that was actually very unique compared to any other platform I've seen out there. So I know it's a very small thing, but I'm a very visual person, and I thought that was kind of cool. So that was something that I gave a positive for it. So the fourth thing I want to mention about M1 Finance is the fact that they have pre-selected or pre-built pies for you, or portfolios. You know, looking here, we got general investing, you know, plan for retirement, responsible investing, just stocks and bonds, hedge fund followers, you know, income earners, other strategies, you know, and you can view these pies if you want to. You know, let's take a look at like just stocks and bonds. Let's take a look at this pie here. So you got a bunch of different options here. You know, 90-10, 80-20, 10-90. So that, I thought that was kind of cool. You know, you don't get that with a lot of other platforms. Matter of fact, you're going to pretty much just have to build your own portfolio on most other platforms. So that is the fourth positive thing that I liked about M1 Finance. The fifth thing I like about M1 Finance is it's free. All right, I don't even need to talk about anything else. It's free. All right, so pretty much every brokerage now is free, so it's not really anything going for M1 Finance anymore, but it is what it is. So and the last thing I want to talk about M1 Finance is the sixth thing is the cash management option. So you do have a cash management option. You can have a card attached to your account, and that is something that I would, you know, required when I signed up for this account. I'm like, okay, this is going to fit me down the road when I fire, and I need to have a cash management account, and I can tie a card to the account. So that is the sixth thing that I like about M1 Finance, and that's the reason why I'm using it. So this brings us to the 5 negatives, and I had a hard time coming up with 5 negatives for it. These are just things that kind of drive me nuts about the platform. Not all of them are a big deal, probably for some people, but these are, in my opinion, just things that they could easily fix. It wouldn't cost them a lot of money, and they should be adding functionality like this all the time. There's no excuse for it at this point. You know, with everybody else being free out there and going with drip and going with fractional, eventually probably every platform is going to do that. They need to step up their game. So I'm going to go ahead and mention these. Maybe they'll go ahead and take a look at this video, and maybe they'll go ahead and update their platform. So the number one negative thing I don't like about M1 Finance is the trading window. So here we're looking at the one trading window I have. It's tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. That's Mountain Standard Time for me. And if you miss that by 30 seconds, good luck. You're gonna have to wait 24 hours just to invest. So that is a huge negative. I don't care if they have that afternoon there. You know, I shouldn't have to pay for that. That should be free. It should be included. When I first started using this platform, I knew they had the trading window, and it still bothered me. And, you know, I've been trading for years, and you know, I pretty much like to get the price that I want for a stock. So it was a very tough thing for me to get over, and almost made me stop using the platform, but I stuck it out. It kind of grew on me a little bit. I'm not too worried about it anymore, at least with my portfolio here with ETFs. I don't really care what price I get, so it hasn't been that big of a deal. But just know that if you're going to get into this platform, you don't want to be day trading with this platform. It is not a day trader's platform at all. So look at a more professional platform for day trading. So that's the first negative I don't like about M1 Finance. So they should be allowing us to do, you know, 8 a.m. and an afternoon one, and they both should be free. You shouldn't have to pay for M1 Plus at all. But maybe we'll see this video, maybe we'll change it. So the number two thing that I don't like about M1 Finance is the fact that they only allow you to have one bank account tied to the account. I went in there and I was trying to figure out for probably 10 or 20 minutes one day how to attach another account to M1 Finance. It's like, you know, I have multiple bank accounts, you know, investment accounts, and business accounts, and I want to attach more than one account, but you cannot do it. So in order to have another bank account, you actually need another M1 Finance account. So that kind of just defeats the purpose. They should allow you to at least add up to like 3 bank accounts, so that way you can select which account you want money to come out of. If you want money to come out of this account, you know, every 2 weeks, and every month you want money to come out of this account, they should allow that option. There's no excuse for that. And then, in my opinion, it only requires a couple hours of, probably programming. I mean, I'm in the IT career field. I know it's not that much to work to add that, so they should be adding that, in my opinion. That's a kind of a negative. So the third negative for M1 Finance, and maybe you've run across this if you use this platform, they close down when the stock market is not closed. Just recently, a couple of months ago, they closed down, they took a holiday when the stock market wasn't even closed. It's like, okay, you guys need to get over this. You're expected to be open when the stock market's open. You need to allow people to make buys when the stock market is open. I know when the stock market holidays are going to be there, so I might go on vacation those days, but if I want to make a purchase when the stock market is open and M1 is closed, it's like, give me a break here. This is 2019, you should not be going on vacation and closing your platform down when the stock market is open. There's no excuse for that, in my opinion. You got a bunch of other platforms out there that are competing for everybody's business. They're doing fractional, they're doing drip, they're free, and M1 Finance really needs to step up their game. They can't be closed when the stock market is open. So the fourth thing that I ran into just the other day was I was rebalancing from the 5 ETFs to the 14 ETFs, and I rebalanced the portfolio. I scheduled that to rebalance at the next trading window. I tried to schedule a buy that same day, and they won't let you buy when you do the rebalance. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of like, what if I wanted to make a buy the same day I did a rebalance? You have to wait 2 days, I gotta do a rebalance, and then I gotta buy. There's no excuse for that, in my opinion. Not that you're going to be running into that very often. You shouldn't be rebalancing much anyway, but it is something I ran into just a few weeks ago when I tried to rebalance my portfolio and tried to make a purchase the same day, tried to schedule them both, and it said I could not do it. That is a negative, in my opinion. There should be no excuse for that. They should allow you to do both. And the last thing, the fifth negative that I don't like about M1 Finance, it's not a big deal, but it is something I noticed. It's some functionality that I looked for that they do not offer, and that's the API. I would love to have an API option where I can dump my portfolio using a key, an API key, and I can get a JSON output from that, and then I can suck that into Google and automatically update my spreadsheet in Google. But they don't have that option. Lending Club has an API. A lot of other brokerages out there have APIs. That would probably require a little bit more work, but most likely they probably have an API anyway, and they just are not exposing it. So it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. So like I said, I had a hard time coming up with the 5 negatives, but it's just something I would like them to add. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's not going to make or break me using this platform though. So that concludes this video. That's my 6 things I like about M1 Finance. That are the 5 things that I do not like about M1 Finance. So if there's any other things that you don't like about M1 Finance, I'd be kind of curious to know, what you've run across. Maybe I haven't run across the ones that you were going to say. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and end this video. And if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them below, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.